the Patel family had always been revered in the small town of Ashwood Valley. For 3 generations, their orchard had produced the sweetest apples in the region, crisp, red treasures that brought in tourists, buyers, and bragging rights. Their grand estate, nestled among sloping hills and the endless rustle of leaves, was as much a monument to their success as it was to their legacy. At the head of this empire stood Ramesh Patel, a stern, practical man with high expectations and little patience for imperfection. His wife, Meera, was gentle but silent in the shadow of her husband's strong hand. Together, they had 2 sons, Arjun, the elder by 3 years, and Dev, the quiet one. Arjun was everything Ramesh admired: charismatic, confident, quick with numbers, and always the center of attention. He excelled in school, led local charity events, and made investors laugh at the dinner table. His smile was polished, his handshake firm. Dev, on the other hand, was introspective and calm. He loved working in the orchard, tending to the trees with a quiet devotion. He listened more than he spoke and preferred books over boardrooms. To Ramesh, Dev was soft, weak, too gentle for business. "You have to be tough to lead," Ramesh often said. "The world doesn't reward kindness." Despite the clear favoritism, Dev never complained. He watched as Arjun basked in their father's praise, took credit for shared projects, and dismissed his brother's insights. Meera noticed, but when she tried to speak up, Ramesh would wave her off. One summer evening, at the annual harvest celebration, Ramesh stood before their guests, glass in hand, pride swelling in his chest. "My son Arjun will be taking over the family business next year," he announced. "He's earned it." Polite applause followed, and Arjun beamed. Dev stood in the back of the room, clapping slowly. He wasn't surprised, but the announcement still cut deep. Later that night, as the stars blinked above the orchard and the house quieted, Meera found Dev sitting alone beneath the old apple tree his grandfather had planted. "I'm sorry," she said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. Dev smiled faintly. "Don't be. I knew it would be him. You've done more for this orchard than anyone." "Doesn't matter," Dev said. "I'm not what he wants." "But you're what this place needs," she whispered. Dev looked up at the house, glowing with light and laughter that felt distant. "Then I'll find a way. If not here, somewhere else." She kissed his head, her heart heavy. "Just don't let the bitterness grow roots." Dev nodded, but even as he did, something cold and quiet settled in his chest, an understanding, not yet rage but not quite acceptance. Something planted that night would grow. And it wouldn't be sweet. The months that followed Arjun's appointment as heir were a whirlwind of renovations, board meetings, and press interviews. Ramesh seemed invigorated by the transition, walking around the estate with a new energy. Arjun wore his new title like a crown, commanding attention in every room. Dev tried to stay out of the way. He focused on managing the workers, nurturing the trees, and running the day-to-day operations, tasks that had always been his domain, invisible though they were to his father. Meera continued to offer quiet support, but her concern for her younger son grew with each passing week. Then came the audit. A government tax official arrived unannounced. Routine, they said. But soon, murmurs began: irregularities in the books, misfiled expenses, odd offshore transfers. Ramesh was livid. "Who did this?" he roared in the study, waving spreadsheets in the air. "Who's been tampering with my accounts?" Arjun, feigning confusion, suggested they bring in a private forensic accountant to investigate. When the results came back, Dev's name was all over the documents. Shell accounts. Fake vendors. Unauthorized signatures. Dev stood in front of his father and brother, numb with disbelief. "I didn't do this. I don't even have access to most of those systems." "You expect me to believe you?" Ramesh shouted. "You've always resented your brother. Maybe this was your way to get back at us." Meera tried to speak up. "Ramesh, let's look at this carefully." "Dev's never." "Enough, Meera." Ramesh barked. "I trusted you, Dev. I gave you this orchard. And you've disgraced it." The shame was swift. Within a day, Dev was removed from the company, his name scrubbed from documents, his key card disabled. Ramesh issued a public statement expressing betrayal from within and promised to restore integrity under Arjun's leadership. Dev packed his things in silence. As he loaded his truck, Arjun approached, all false sympathy. "Sorry, little brother. Business is business." Dev looked at him with quiet fury. "You framed me." Arjun smirked. "Maybe. Or maybe you were never smart enough to see it coming." That night, Dev drove out of Ashwood Valley. The orchard disappeared behind him in the rearview mirror, but the sting of betrayal burned hotter than ever. He vowed he would return, not to beg, not to plead, but to take back what was stolen. He just had to be patient. And precise. Dev settled in a modest town 100 miles away. It had no orchards, no legacy to uphold, and no one who knew his name. He found work at a small nursery, caring for plants with the same quiet dedication he'd once shown his family's trees. The owners, an elderly couple, saw in him a steadiness that warmed their hearts. At night, he studied. He learned everything he could about accounting, fraud detection, corporate law, subjects he'd once avoided. If Arjun had played him with paperwork, Dev would master the game. Years passed. Dev moved from the nursery to managing a chain of eco-farms. His leadership, empathy, and efficiency transformed the business. He earned respect not by charm, but by consistency. Yet he never forgot. Back in Ashwood Valley, the orchard changed. Under Arjun's direction, it became more corporate: slick ads, mass production, chemical fertilizers. Yields increased, but the taste of the apples diminished. Locals whispered that something had been lost. Ramesh aged quickly. His health faltered, and with it, his confidence. Arjun, busy chasing expansion and profits, rarely visited the trees. He cared more for appearances than soil. One evening, Dev received a letter. It was from Meera. It had no pleasantries, just a simple message. "Come home. Your father is dying. He won't say it, but he needs you." "I do, too." Dev stared at the letter for hours. Then he made his decision. He would return, but not as a son seeking forgiveness. He would return as a man prepared to take back what was his. Dev arrived in Ashwood Valley just before dusk. The sun hung low, casting golden light over the orchard, but the familiar rows looked tired. The trees drooped slightly, leaves dusty, and the apples, while plentiful, lacked the vibrant hue he remembered. He parked by the barn and took a deep breath before stepping onto the gravel path. Meera opened the door before he could knock. Her eyes brimmed with emotion, and she embraced him tightly. "You came," she whispered. "I had to," Dev said. "How is he?" "Worse. He asks for Arjun, but," she hesitated. "He doesn't come." Ramesh lay in the master bedroom, frail and pale, a shell of the man who once commanded empires. His eyes fluttered open as Dev entered. "You," he rasped. Dev nodded, pulling a chair beside him. "I'm here." For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then Ramesh coughed. "I was wrong." "You believed what you wanted to believe," Dev said quietly. "And you gave everything to the one who knew how to manipulate you." "I was proud. I wanted strength." Dev said nothing. He held his father's hand as Ramesh drifted into sleep. In the days that followed, Dev took up the old routines. He walked the orchard at sunrise, spoke with the workers, noted changes in soil, pests, yield. The foreman, old Miguel, recognized him and greeted him with tears. "You're the heart of this place, Dev," he said. One evening, Meera handed him a faded envelope. "I found this in your father's desk. It's the real audit. The one Arjun hid." Dev read through the pages. It was clear: Arjun had falsified documents and paid off a consultant to place blame on Dev. Now he had proof. But Dev didn't go to the press. He didn't call the police. Instead, he invited Arjun to dinner. They met in the family dining room. Arjun arrived late, dressed in a tailored suit, wearing the same smug smile. "Well, well. The prodigal gardener returns." Dev poured him a drink. "You've run the orchard into the ground. It's profitable. At the cost of its soul." And what do you plan to do? Lecture me? Dev handed him the envelope. Arjun paled as he scanned the documents. I could destroy you, Dev said calmly. But I won't. You're going to resign. Publicly. You'll admit to everything, and you'll sign over your shares to the Patel Foundation. Not me. The orchard doesn't need a king. It needs caretakers. Arjun laughed nervously. You wouldn't. Dev leaned forward. I already did. Copies are with my lawyers, with the local news, and the board of directors. You walk away clean, or you walk away in disgrace. The smugness faded. Arjun nodded slowly. You've changed. No, Dev said. You never really knew me. With Arjun's quiet departure came a wave of change. Dev didn't announce himself as the new head of the orchard. Instead, he called a town meeting. Farmers, workers, vendors, and neighbors gathered in the barn that had hosted generations of Patel family business. I'm not here to lead from above, Dev said. I'm here to grow with you. He outlined his vision: return to sustainable farming, restore the old trees, and create a community-owned cooperative under the newly formed Patel Foundation. Profits would be shared. Workers would have a vote. Heritage and heart would matter more than marketing. The room was silent at first. Then Miguel stood up, clapping. One by one, others followed. Restoration began. Dev walked the rows daily, pruning, planting, listening. He brought in experts on organic agriculture, trained young locals in arboriculture, and even invited Mira to teach classes on food preservation and heritage recipes. The orchard bloomed. Slowly, then brilliantly. Apples returned to their old brilliance, crimson with golden blush, sweet and sharp like memory. Ramesh passed away that winter. He died peacefully, Dev at his side. On the day of the funeral, Mira placed a single apple from the renewed orchard on his casket. He would have been proud, she said. Even if he never said it. I didn't do it for him, Dev replied. I did it for what he forgot to protect. Years later, people still told the story of the Patel orchard, not just of its fall and revival, but of the son who returned not with vengeance, but vision. In the orchard's museum, a letter hangs in a frame. It's from Arjun, dated 5 years after his resignation. I see now what I stole, not just your name, but your peace. You gave me mercy when I deserved ruin. Thank you for building something beautiful. Something we all could have had, if only I'd listened. Beneath it, an old photo of Dev planting a sapling with a group of children. The caption reads, "The sweetest fruit grows from the bitterest roots, if we dare to nurture it." If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like and share this video. It would really help me out, and thank you for watching.